Don't Know Jack, the irreverent trivia party game, is now live on Facebook. Finally, you can prove to your friends that you're less stupid than they are.
You Don't Know Jack Facebook Edition. Jackbox is known for their multiplayer real-time games, but before their party games became popular, they started as a company that would make shovelware trivia games for various consoles and on PC. However, the early 2010s were known as a time where Facebook games hit their peak. This game had its beta release for Facebook on PC, eventually trickling down to iOS and Android. Various changes were made to streamline this game for these platforms, such as shortening the game from 10 questions to 5. Eventually the game got riddled with microtransactions and drove people away, until Jackbox eventually stopped supporting the game in 2015. Because of this, the game will only exist in footage uploaded online, and not in any playable form. The Complete and Utter History of Britain. In 1969, the BBC aired a 6-episode sketch comedy show starring some of the actors who would later go on to be in Monty Python. The idea was actually a very creative one, essentially showing events throughout British history as if they were being televised at the time. While 6 episodes were aired on the BBC, technically it could be counted as 7, as the first 2 were stitched together as one episode when they aired. Footage is very hard to come by, as this was another show that was affected by BBC's tape wiping practices around the time. As such, much of this show is findable in much the same way as many early Doctor Who episodes, which is to say, basically not at all. The first 3 episodes have been recovered, and many scenes were recreated for a DVD release, but there's still a lot that's missing.
And welcome to Pointless. This game is easy. All you have to do is answer questions and earn points. But unlike other game shows, you're not going for the most points. You are going for the fewest points possible.
Pointless. Pointless was to be an American localization of a BBC show with the same name. The show was a game show hosted by Alison Sweeney and basically functioned like a reverse Family Feud, where the object is to give correct answers that were chosen by as few people as possible, in a survey conducted before the show. In 2015, it was announced by Mark Labbett that a localization of Pointless was coming to the US. A pilot was produced in 2017, and unfortunately, this was a bad time for this to happen, as executives shifted over and the ones that replaced them simply did not want Pointless as much. The first 2017 pilot exists and is viewable on YouTube and Vimeo. There was another pilot made, and it is lost and will probably never get a release.
You are invited to an adventure that will take you to a new world of online gaming. This is Cartoon Network's Mini-Match, your online portal to a world of multiplayer games. Customize your character and challenge other players to games like Ben 10's Galactic Matchup, Camp Lazlo's Battle Beams, or Foster's Big Shot Checkers. Mini-Match is your interactive community where you can hang out, play games, chat, or explore in a safe, kid-friendly environment. Go to playMinimatch.com for details.
Mini-Match. Mini-Match was an MMO created by Cartoon Network in 2007. Players could create characters called minis and explore a virtual world in a 3D space. The main focus was multiplayer, and playing various minigames against the other users that would yield aesthetic upgrades to your player character. At its height, the game had 4 million active users, however, Cartoon Network lowered this number by the end by creating an intentional sabotage to their user base. This game can be considered a predecessor to Fusion Fall, with Minimatch eventually redirecting users to that game toward the end. Minimatch ended abruptly in 2009 and has not been playable since. Cup of Idiocy. This was one of the many films Doug Walker made as a child, possibly due to his love of film, and inspiring him to eventually create The Nostalgia Critic. The whole film is a collection of comedic shorts instead of being a long narrative. The film has been shown to people before, however it's most likely that the only people who have seen the whole thing are Doug and people close to him. Doug would eventually go on to review the movie, however the clips shown in that review are not the full movie. And because of the private and sentimental nature of this piece of lost media, the odds of Doug ever releasing the whole thing are slim to none.
The video opens up with a disclaimer.
What you are about to see is not true.
Thanks for that. So they then go.
Halo Combat Evolved for the PS2. One thing that's general knowledge even if you don't play Halo is that the Halo games are Xbox exclusive. The first title in the series released with the original Xbox was Combat Evolved, but it was not always planned to be an exclusive to the Xbox. Halo was going to be multi-platform as the acquisition of Bungie by Microsoft occurred during development. This means that there could possibly be early versions of Halo Combat Evolved for the PS2, and in fact, there does exist footage of this version on IGN's YouTube channel. This is the only evidence of Halo for PS2 in tangible form, and no publicly playable version is known to exist. Trash. This was planned to be one of the original Nicktoons along with Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and Doug. The premise for this stop-motion pilot was about a crime-fighting alien living on a planet made of trash. Test audiences apparently received the pilot well, and despite the plan being for Nickelodeon to pick up 4 of the pilots instead of 3, trash got thrown away, pun intended. Currently, no footage, screenshots, production materials, or anything tangible has surfaced for public view. And in fact, the last time anyone besides the production crew saw any piece of this pilot was in 1995. Virtual Jockey. One of the interesting things about the Virtual Boy was its small library, as it became a failure quickly before new games could be released. This, however, does not mean that few games were developed for the system. Many games were developed for the Virtual Boy that never got released, such as Virtual Jockey. The game is about the player trying to win a horse race to impress his father, who also won many horse races, and the challenge of the game is going through 20 opponents to complete the story. As with many scrapped games, it's unsurprising that no playable version exists. No materials exist except for 4 screenshots of the game, which showcase some actually pretty decent graphics. Team Rocket vs. Team Plasma. During the 5th generation of Pokemon, a 2-part episode was scheduled to air in March of 2011. The plot treaded territory that never really got its own focal episode up to that point, which was the evil teams fighting each other in a grand scale. These episodes were finished, but were postponed due to the 2011 natural disasters in Japan, and they never got around to airing them. This was possibly by design, but the plan was still to release the episodes internationally. But these episodes were never dubbed before officially being cancelled. Since the original plan was to air the episodes, just delayed, it's unknown why the episodes were cancelled. Today, over a decade later, only a couple of screenshots survive. Online Nation. This is the 3rd time I've talked about this on here, and I kinda thought I was done updating you all on this search, but alas, the found episodes of this show are lost once again. So for those that haven't seen episodes 2 or 14, essentially this was a show that aired on CW in 2007, starring Rhett and Link and 2 other hosts, who would introduce and showcase clips already uploaded on YouTube. For a while, various clips were available on YouTube, and some were even revisited on an episode of GMM. Earlier this year, the 4 episodes that aired on TV were found by a YouTube user, but some time ago, those episodes were removed for unknown reasons, and for some stupid reason, I didn't archive them at the time. I made the one rookie mistake you never make in a lost media search. Rule number 1 is to always archive something once it becomes found. But since I didn't follow that rule, the 4 aired episodes are lost again, and the other 4 that never aired were always lost to begin with. Hopefully some interest is sparked back into the search, and hey, maybe someone makes a Lost Media Wiki article about it, because, yeah, for some reason that still hasn't happened yet.
We're not going to make any promises about the show. We haven't seen it, or at least we haven't seen this version of it.
Are you nervous?
I have a funny feeling.
I have an awkward, I have a weird feeling. I can't even promise that Rhett's gonna be on it.
Yeah.
The producers have really been talking me up.